Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It's a Friday here in Lagos, Nigeria, and globally it's February 14th. Today is Valentine's Day. Lovers are happy with each other, buying gifts and exchanging gifts and a host of other things. So happy Valentine's Day to everybody, to all Arsenal fans across the globe. I hope you treat your loved ones good, and I really, really hope that you happy give back to do so. So that said, today we're actually going to be looking at, our pressure our pressure by Mikel Arteta. Of course, we are going to be facing who is it? We are going to be facing Leicester away tomorrow at their stadium. That is the Fox something. I can't really remember their stadium name, but I know it's Fox something. So we are going to be having an early kickoff match tomorrow by going away. And that match, of course, is coming with a lot of stories around it. Stories because of the fact that, of course, we know what is going on with us now. We have injury problems. Kai Havertz is out, Saka is out, Ben White is likely going to be playing tomorrow. I don't know about that. We are going to read it in our presser. And again, we don't know how Mikel Arteta is going to be setting up tomorrow. So all of these things are things that we are going to be looking at in this video today. So please remember, if you have not subscribed to my channel, kindly remember to subscribe to my channel. Hit the like button on this video and also drop a comment. I would really, really appreciate that because of course my channel is new and of course I want Gunners to form a community with me. So let's get right into what we have to do. So just like I've said, Mikel Arteta, of course, our players are back in England and they are back at the Emirates or what is our training center. They are back at our training center, and of course, this is the Sobha Reality Centre where Mikel Arteta does have his press conference. And yeah, this is every word from Arteta's pre-Leicester's presser. Okay, so here's our gaffer, of course, our beautiful manager. And here, we start by saying that we head to Leicester City on Saturday, looking to extend our unbeaten Premier League run to 15 matches. And before making the journey to East Midland, Mikel Arteta held his press conference. Yes, held his pre-match press conference. So, of course, journalists are going to ask Mikel a lot of questions. And of course, he was asked about the blow of losing Kai Havertz to injury, as well as our trip to Dubai, the fitness of other players, and a host of other things. So before I really continue with the video, if you have not been watching my videos, I did a video on the Dubai trip. I did a video on Bukayo Saka's injury. I did a video when I've had this injury. So all of these videos are on my YouTube page. You can check it out. So let's go back to what the gaffer has to say. So starting with, of course, our manager was asked about the blow of losing Kai Havertz to injury, as well as our trip to Dubai, the fitness of other players and a host of other topics. So we are going to go through everything that was asked our manager and the answers he provided. Of course, on Kai Havertz injury, Mikel was asked that question, and he said, "We were having a great camp in Dubai, recharging, training, having some time off, and connecting again with nature in a different environment." I made mention that they needed that summer kind of vibe where they are going to get sunlight and every other thing, whatever happens in summer. Because right now in England, I think is the weather is not really great. I'm not so sure, but I don't stay in England. All right, so going forward, he says in a different environment, and then the injury happened in a very unexpected way. Certainly, it is a big blow because of the injuries that we have, but fortunately, we have been through a lot this season. We have played without Gabriel, we have played without Saliba, Ben White all season. Ben White all season as well as Tomiyasu all season. Califury out for 2 months, Merino for 2 months, Martin Odegaard for 2 months, Bukayo Saka for 3 months, Gabriel Jesus, all of them. So that is it. That is the challenge ahead. I love it and look forward because we are still where we are with all the things I mentioned on top of playing 4 times with 10 men. Blah, blah, blah. Let's see what the team is made of. So if you remember in one of my videos, I said, of course, was it January? I think January we had to play about 10 matches in January, 10 or 11 matches in January. That was an awesome match. We played a lot of match and as far as I'm concerned, I think we played too many matches in January. And of course, the guys really deserve some rest in Dubai. So going forward, what Gaffer has to say, of course, he was asked another question again on whether he enjoys, trying to solve problems like this. Mikel responded by saying that, yes, of course, because I don't want to look. I understand the narrative. If any team in this league lost 4 players in the front line like those, I know what the answer would be. I don't even want to mention that. We have been through a lot and we have sustained the level of performance and results until this point. So we are more than capable of doing it. That is the only thing we are going to be looking at. So Mikel is obviously admitting that, of course, the injury is a big deal. We have four of our important frontline players out, and of course, we just have to look beyond that and do what we need to do. So, on who might start up front from now, he said, you don't have to be very creative with that option that we have. I'm sure you are going to get it right. So I don't really get that. I don't really get what it meant in that case anyway. So on whether Etanu and Neri could fulfill the role, he said, I think it is more about them, about when. I mean, I think it is more about when. I think it's in there as a possibility more than a necessity. Is that real quality? He's been playing as an attacking midfielder and on the right wing, and I think he's been really good in that position, so that's fine. So he was also asked on whether Ryan Sterling could shine with regular football. Mikel had to respond by saying that yes, and for other players as well, and for Leo, that is Leandro Trossard, to probably play in two different positions. It is between all of us. We have mentioned that many times. It is adding value from different players. It's probably been a little bit different in adapting to the qualities and strengths of our players. So go for it. Of course, the spirit is pretty certainly the same. So on whether he's tempted to rush back Bukayo Saka, of course we know Bukayo Saka has been injured since about say December, I think 23rd or something. I can't really remember, maybe 21st or something. Anyways, he responded by saying that I don't know. We have a long term injury. So what is faster? In a 10-day injury, 20 days is a lot because it's 30%. But in 3 months, a week probably is not that much. It's too early, is in an early stage of the rehab. So when we get a little bit closer and they start to do more demanding stuff and has more load, we will see where he is. There is no setback. He's fine. So what is he saying here? Nobody wants them to rush. Of course, we don't want them to rush Bukayo Saka back into the squad. Bukayo Saka is currently injured, has been out for quite a while now. And currently is recuperating, is in rehab. He also went to Dubai with them. So obviously, Gaffer is saying that we are not going to be seeing him rushed back into the squad. He needs to regain his own strength and be able to take more load. So on if Ben White could be involved against Leicester, what did Mikel have to say? Mikel said, yes, Ben White, has been training more regularly now. So we still have to manage his load a lot, but he is going to be available. Yes. Sorry. So tomorrow we are likely going to be seeing Ben White, maybe coming on from the bench. Maybe he's going to be playing maybe 15 minutes to the end of the match, or surprisingly, he might start the match and maybe he would not be able to finish the match. Of course, not due to injury again. I don't hope for that. Maybe because of substitution. Of course, he needs to get back into his fitness and be able to play his regular time. So on Everton using a photo of him scoring against Liverpool on their program cover. If you remember very well, you remember that Everton used Mikel Arteta as a cover. Of course, Mikel Arteta, the image they used of Mikel Arteta was when he scored I think a very important goal because he used to be an Everton player before he came to us now, then debuted to being a manager. So Mikel said that it's probably because it was the last time Everton beat Liverpool at the Goodison Park. So good memories. I look young. I was a very powerful player, as you know. So what is Mikel saying here? Of course, we all know that this is going to be the last, derby match between Everton and Liverpool at the Goodison Park because they are going to be moving to their new stadium come 2026, I suppose. So the new season that is coming up. So every other derby would be in their new stadium. They're likely going to be calling it the Everton Stadium or something like that. So it's really, really, memorable that Miguel Arteta was used as a cover of their magazine for that match. Where they held Liverpool to a 2-2 draw. Of course, I also made a video on that because that match became controversial, especially, of course, because we have Michael Oliver in that match. So I made a video where I talked about Michael Oliver. I made my point known that, Liverpool fans really thought us now are joking when we talked about Michael Oliver not being a good referee, basically, because they're always saying that we are clowning whenever we complain about the referee, the level of officiating in the EPL. So you can always watch that video and likely maybe I'll link the video here or here in the comment, in the description of the video. So going forward with what our gaffer has to say again, on his reaction to Everton's late equalizer against Liverpool, We all know how that went. We know Liverpool fans. I mean, we know Liverpool went crazy from that point on. They were not really happy with the fact that, of course, Everton equalized at the 97th minute, I suppose, in that match. Making it 2-2. So Mikel responded by saying that I better not tell you the story of what happened. It was a funny one because I was watching it. I was watching the tablet and I lost connection, so we didn't know exactly what was going on. That is the beauty of football, the uncertainty, and that is the fact for everybody. It's not the first time for everybody. It's really difficult to win matches in this league. That is why, the hope and the ambition are always there. Because to do it consistently for 10 months, it is a very, very long league. So that is that what Mikel has to say on that. So he went on by saying that on whether, that goal proves is the answer to our striker shortage. Mikel responded by saying that I think we'd be in a big trouble. On Liverpool dropping point, of course, Liverpool dropped 2 points, when they had that draw at Goodison Park against them, Everton. They have been trying to downplay that match like they didn't drop points. Of course, they dropped points because now they have played their outstanding match and they dropped 2 points. They are downplaying that match and trying to make us feel like, at least they're still 7 points ahead of us now. Nobody cares about that. You are 7 points ahead of us now, but you dropped two crucial points. You could have been 9 points ahead of us now, but now you are 7 points ahead of us now. That is a good one for us now. We just have to look for a way to capitalize on that. So Miguel was asked on, of course, the facts and on Liverpool dropping point. He said, when the gap becomes a bit smaller than you expected, it is always really positive. You need that. You need that. Generating momentum, and the next few weeks are going to be critical as well to understand where we are after the international break, with 6 or 7 weeks to go in the season. So Miguel was also asked on how he keeps injured players focused. He responded by saying that by keeping them as close as possible to the team and involved, they are responsible as well to manage this period and the energy of the team and support in the best possible way to maintain the standard and the belief around the team. He went on by saying that, and also to be connected. But when you come back, because when you come back, if you have been in the process every single day, I think it is much better to achieve again the performance level that you need. So Miguel went on to, another person was that on maintaining our pressing up front. Of course, us now, most of the time, we dominate you by possession. We are going to always play the attacking football. We are always going to move the ball forward, try to score goals. So Miguel was asked on maintaining our pressing up front, and he responded by saying that we will have moments in relations to the opposition's qualities and the intentions they have. He said, he said we will have moments in relation to the opposition qualities and the intentions they have. And our ability will hopefully be better and better in the next few weeks. As for now, we always adapt to the qualities of the player. So on facing Leicester away this weekend, he said that is going to be very difficult. At home against top opponents, they make life very difficult. I know Rude very well and how he sets up his team, and you can see the spirit there. They are very much alive and a threat. I actually think Mikel is whining. What's his name? I think it's whining Ruud van Nistelrooy. I have to be honest. All right, so going forward with what Mikel has to say on what has caused the number of injuries this season. Mikel says obviously you cannot prove it, so the evidence we can provide is very limited in many aspects, and every case is very different. Obviously, some of them we know are based on loads and minutes. That is inevitable. We have players who have been injured and who have played 130 games in the last 2 seasons. So in the end, there's an accident waiting to happen if you continue to load and load. Is this season? Is it this season? Is it the accumulation of that? Is it the stress of that? Is it luck? Is it presentation? Is it methodology? There are a lot of factors, and it's very difficult to point at something. But the schedule is super demanding, and for certain players, especially explosive players, it becomes a real issue. So on Twitter, if you're not following me on Twitter at the Arsenal in me, please kindly do so. Follow on Twitter as the Arsenal in me. Subscribe to my channel and also remember to leave a comment. And you can also like my video, of course, if you like what I'm doing. So on Twitter, in the past few days, I've been having discussions with people around, the number of games our player play. I actually do not believe they play too many games because, of course, if for example we are not using Bukayo Saka, just say that Manchester City is not using Bruno Fernandes and they lose a game, everybody is going to go for the manager and say, why is he putting Bruno Fernandes on the bench while they really need him to play on the pitch? So it's the same feeling I have when we talk about Bukayo Saka, talk about Kai Havertz. They are high performance players, they are high pressing players, they are players that we need in our squad, and there's nothing we can do about that. So who exactly are we going to use, or who is in the level of Bukayo Saka? Say, for example, we need to score a goal, and we have a match that we are playing currently. Bukayo Saka is not currently playing in that match. You understand what I'm saying? And now they have to, we need a goal, and obviously they will need to bring in Bukayo Saka, which means is he has more match to his belt, he has more minutes to his belt. Look at what happened to Liverpool against this team that won them. What was the team now? Is it Plymouth or something? I can't remember that team that won them in the FA Cup or so. The only thing that happened in that match was that Salah did not play in that match, and maybe a few other players. But Salah was just the key point in that match because he was the one that has always been giving them the proper goal and assist that they need. So with big players, it's difficult to really say what is happening. And I think that the minute is something that he still would always, always, always play for. So going on with our Gaffer's discussion on how Mikel reacts to seeing injuries. He said a big pain in the tummy, that is the first feeling. First of all, when you see a player in pain, it's really a bad feeling. Then you think not again, then you realize you have no time to do that. Support the player, start to look forward and at the alternative on how the team is going to be able to continue to perform. Convince yourself about that because the players need to feel that belief as well. You can use cases and situations we have been in the past. We have done it great. So if you have done it before, we can do it again. So on whether you would sign somebody knowing what he knows now, Mikel says no. Mikel says no. But we were always put in that situation where we were an injury or two away from a very risky situation. When you try your best and do everything that you think you are capable of, and you have done your homework and tried that, and you don't achieve it, you can have regret, but at least you know that you have done it. So I mean, Mikel is still very much telling you that he's neither going to get any players, even with all of this injury. Let's say even if the injury has happened before now. So he's still saying that of course we need to get maybe the right profile of players and telling us that he has done basically everything he needs to do, look into the market, done everything they need to do. Maybe nobody fits that profile. So on whether he will limit his ambition this season, he says, if I do that, I did prefer to go home. He says no chance. That is good to know from our gaffer. On the mood in the camp, Mikel responded by saying that there is always a moment, and if that happened, and it's happened when we were training super well, and we were in the best environment, and suddenly that happened, but you have to turn things around. Unfortunately, we go through that a lot. You could see the reaction with the reaction of the physios, the whole team, and now we feel about that. Tomiyasu is another one that has been really strong with this kind of situation. Ben too, that is Ben White. When Mikel came in and suddenly is on the floor and out for 6 to 8 weeks, unfortunately, we have had a lot. It's part of the game, it's part of our profession, and we have to deal with that. So Miguel was asked on whether he saw the impacts on the players. He says the reaction is, what else do we have to do? Let's do something. That is it. That is the reaction. On Kai's, injury, I mean, on how Kai injured his hamstring, Miguel says he was going to stop a shot after a set piece, then he stretched the leg and felt his hamstring. On whether he will change the approach given the different profile of his forwards now. Miguel says we have to. Obviously, there are certain things that we are going to have to adapt. And again, it brings other opportunities as well because we are going to have different front lines of players that are very unpredictable. So good in 1v1s, very creative, very sharp, and is going to give different edicts to the opposition. So basically, what Miguel is saying here is that we are going to be having a different lineup of players, of course, because the ones we know, the usual faces we know are injured already. So now the only senior players that we know that are fit are just Trossard and Sterling. And Uwaneri is already a senior player as far as I'm concerned. He's playing in the first team, he's delivering goals, he's scoring, he's dropping assists. So he's already a senior player as far as I'm concerned. But we are likely going to be seeing some formations. Of course, I'm going to be doing another video where if the team news or anything related is out, I'm going to be sharing it with you guys, my community. All right, so I don't know how Mikel plans to set up the squad tomorrow. Of course, we are going to still talk about that. So, on whether the intensity of modern football increases the chance of injuries, Mikel responded by saying that the intensity is going to a different level, and the demand that we put in play in terms of amount of minutes, in this competitive environment, it is higher and higher. So it's just the consequences of that. Mikel says you look at all the graphics and the injury that has happened in the last 2 seasons, especially this season, and long-term injuries, especially muscle and tendon movement, involvement, it is higher than ever. There's a relationship, and given the data sample is small, I think it's very clear. So of course we can't deny that the players are playing more matches, and even there are even some competition they'll play pretty very soon. I think they are talking about Club World Cup, many other competitions like that. So it's a difficult one for the players really. So on whether I will bring in free agents, it says we will explore every possible situations and make a decision from there. So Miguel is actually not ruling it out. He's not saying they're not going to bring in anybody, but I don't think they are going to bring in anybody. He's only just saying that okay, we are going to look at all possibilities to see if, for example, maybe they are going to bring anybody in. On whether he wants the Premier League rules change to get Max Doman involved. So who is Max Doman? Of course, we all know Max Doman. I did a video on Max Doman and 9 other youth players that are likely going to be promoted to the first team. If you have not seen that video, please check out my videos, or I'm going to attach that video as part of this a video. Maybe you can see it in the description, or you see it up, somewhere here, up here, or here. So maybe you see it around that place. So McDormand, of course, has been proving himself in our youth academy, playing really very well, and hopefully he's going to be promoted just like Miles Lewis Kelly or one area has been promoted to the first team. So these are actually another opportunity that we are looking at. So Mikel said we had Max, we have many other keys as well there in Dubai. Of course, these guys went to Dubai with them. I have a video on it. Please, you can check it out. It was a big opportunity for us to see them in our environment. It is clear the rules on age and restrictions at the moment, and very difficult to change that as well. So Max man, I don't know. We might see him, we might not see him. It all depends. Of course, there are rules guiding the ages of players. So I don't know if our appeal, because according to social media, I think it's been said that we are putting in an appeal to see if maybe they would accept Max Dolman to be able to play in our squad. I don't know if that would be approved, of course. So going forward, on whether he will keep senior players on the bench. So there is experience there. He said that is a good point, and sometimes it's a way of twisting your thinking and probably exposing the players in an environment that is, from the beginning a bit easier. We will have to cope with different contexts probably, and some of them that we haven't even imagined or can really plan today, but we are ready. So Mika was asked on whether he still feels that bringing in extra players would have been beneficial. He said a certain ability that can play in our level, that is a body that we recognize as somebody who can support and impact the team. Mikel Arteta has always said it time and time again that they are going to bring in somebody that can add value to the squad, that is valuable. So what he's saying in essence is that look out till summer transfer window. Don't expect anything in between summer transfer window. Any January transfer window is likely not going to be possible with us now. So let's look out for summer transfer window. That's what Mikel is saying, because it's more like saying that we need more time to be able to look at the players that we are bringing in, the quality of the players we are bringing in. So, all right. So going forward on how we adapt training to help with fatigue, he says it's very limited. We train less than ever. You see our data, we train less than ever. It's normal. There is no time for training, but when we talk about training, it's not only what happens on the grass. The biggest problem is that you don't train the muscle. That is the problem. So the muscle is undertrained, and when you expose the muscle and the tendons to an exposure that they cannot absorb, because the tendon needs 72 hours to recover. So a lot of people talk about that. A lot of people talk about what are we doing outside. It's really not. It's not outside. It's inside. When you have to load that muscle for 2, 3, 6, 8 weeks, when you haven't trained in that in when you haven't trained it, the risk of injury is much bigger. One, because the muscle and tendons are not recovered, and then it's not prepared to absorb the load and the stress you are going to put it under again every 3 days. That's the problem. So Miguel was asked on whether it takes art from what we have already done this season. He says, I look at all the factors that can give you an edge, that maybe weren't there. He said a big one is going to be our people, our supporters. If you are going to be short in certain areas, they can contribute in a way that nobody else can impact the team. And it's with that energy. The energy can change momentum, belief, and put the players from this level of performance to that one without me talking to them. That is a big power, and we have to use everything that we have in house and in our domains to do that. So the question went on by asking him on whether Everton equalizer helps change momentum. He says that helps. It seems like it helps when you see your team performing, what we have done in the Champions League and what we are doing in the league with all the conditions that we are in. That is massive belief. The players' reaction is one that gives me the mood that I am in, that they want more and they are not satisfied and they are not going to stop with that. So obviously the players are, they really, really want to do some magic themselves. They really, really want to put their head in the game. So hopefully they can show us what they are made of, as Mikel has promised in our match against Leicester City going away. So Mikel was also asked on how he gets Sterling going now. He responded by saying that he's been much more involved recently and well on his merit, and he's entered the right to, he has earned the right to do so. Obviously, now in terms of minutes, and availability, we have those players. All the players are going to have more exposure, and certainly Raz will be one of them. So finally, Mikel Arteta was asked on the women's team playing sports this weekend. Of course, every time we play sports, we should always be beating the men or women. I don't care. So Mikel responded by saying that all the best, let's do it again. It's going to be packed and it's just a joy to watch the amount of support that they deservedly get, that deservedly get in because of what they are doing. So I hope it goes well. All right, so this is what Mikel has to say. This is the presser, Mikel Arteta. And guys, what do you really think about what Mikel has to say? Of course, he's not going to talk about transfer. The only thing that I said about transfer indirectly is, guys, wait till the summer, wait till, of course, we are able to actually bring in the proper player. But now is not the time. We are not looking at bringing in anybody now. So sorry, guys. We are going to manage what we have. Probably see Matoma coming from, the youth academy, or maybe Portna or Yedeji, coming in from the youth academy. Maybe they can actually be our strike. Sorry, maybe they can actually be our striker going forward. Anyways, guys, this is the video for now. But before I go on this video, please remember to drop your comment, because I'm going to be reading out comment from one of my watch, somebody that watched my video. I promise in every video that I make now, if you drop a comment, I'm going to be featuring your comment on my video. So this guy is actually a Liverpool fan. So I'm going to be reading out what he has to say, because I made a video yesterday where I talked about Mikel Oliver and the Liverpool fiasco. So he responded on that video and said, I am honestly surprised we managed a draw with how bad Mikel Oliver was refereeing the game yesterday. The man was clearly on a mission to rob us of 3 points. Yes, we had 90 minutes, but even for a top team like Liverpool, it's always going to be hard to win when the referee so clearly doesn't want you to win. Arsenal doesn't count as a top team, so Arsenal supporters won't understand what I mean. Hmm. Okay, the referee don't handicap Arsenal nearly as badly as they do Liverpool. And believe me when I say Liverpool has some history with Mikel Oliver. Arsenal only now discovering how bad a referee he really is, while we have been suffering from his corrupt ways for many seasons now. In the title challenging seasons, he looked the other way when Doku I booted McAllister in the chest. That horrible Pickford tackle on Van Dijk, which took him out for a whole season. The list goes on. So yes, we are more qualified than most to be angry when we were robbed again and again. All right, so I had to respond to his comment, of course, and the thing that made me really respond was saying Arsenal is not really a big team. Well, everybody is entitled to their opinion, but the point here is that would you have imagined if Liverpool fans really, really, really supported us when we were all talking about Michael Oliver and the problems it brings to the game. And the irony of this is that Michael Oliver is even preached to be the best referee in England. So if Michael Oliver is the yardstick of refereeing in England, there is trouble. And the only reason why I will not support any Liverpool narrative right now is because they don't support Arsenal's narrative when we bring in our own issues. They are always saying that we are conspiracy theorists. We are trying to deflect on the issues. We are trying to, of course, you see, bans aside, when officiating is bad, it brings inequality to the game. It absolutely removes the competitiveness of the game and tend to give the other side the advantage. So personally, I don't see what Michael Oliver has done in that match, that particular match. I'm being honest now. But let's say, okay, Liverpool fans are aggrieved. When we have been aggrieved as Arsenal fans, what have you guys done? Absolutely nothing but mock us. So now you guys just have to bear it. Maybe, of course, more errors is going to come so that we can actually catch up on you and probably win the league. I don't care how we are going to win it. I just want us to win the league. Either you drop points, either whatever way, we just have to win the league. Anyways, guys, this is the video for today. So I'm going to be doing another video when we have more information on our players, maybe the players that are going to be facing Leicester City, which is early kickoff tomorrow, as you can see here. Or perhaps maybe board information. Maybe there's a new update from Mikel Arteta. Whatever it is, I'm going to be doing a new video. So in the meantime, please do remember to share, like, and comment on my video. I really, really do appreciate you guys a lot. Thank you, and see you next time.